you ever tried to explain what you're good at in English and suddenly your mind goes completely blank? Maybe you know your skills in your native language, but when it's time to talk about them in English, you feel unsure, slow, or even a little embarrassed.
That's a very common feeling. A lot of English learners understand much more than they can say, especially when the topic is personal, like talking about your strengths, your abilities, or what makes you unique.
Exactly. And today, we're going to help you change that. In this conversation, you'll learn how to talk about your superpowers, your strengths, in a natural, confident, and very real way.
We'll show you how to describe your abilities clearly, how to react in a conversation, and how to keep the dialogue flowing without feeling stuck. I'm Leo.
And I'm Anna. By the end of this video, you'll feel more comfortable talking about yourself, not in a stressful way, but in a calm and confident way.
Before we begin, if you enjoy learning English through real conversations like this, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the English Talk channel.
All right, let's get into today's conversation.
So, Anna, I've been thinking about something interesting lately.
Oh yeah? What's on your mind?
Well, I heard someone say that everyone has a superpower, not like flying or invisibility, but real-life strengths. And it made me wonder, what's your superpower?
That's a great question, and honestly, it's not always easy to answer.
I get that. Sometimes it feels a bit uncomfortable to talk about what we're good at.
Right, but I think it's also important. If we can't explain our strengths, it's harder to use them in real life.
That makes sense. So if you had to choose one, what would you say your superpower is?
I would say my superpower is staying calm under pressure.
That's a really valuable one. Can you explain what you mean by under pressure?
Of course, under pressure means when a situation is stressful, urgent, or emotionally intense. For example, when there's a deadline, a problem, or something unexpected happens.
Got it. So instead of feeling overwhelmed, you stay steady.
Exactly. I don't panic easily. I try to slow things down, think clearly, and focus on solutions.
That's impressive. I think a lot of people struggle with that. If I'm being honest, I'm kind of the opposite sometimes.
Really? In what way?
Well, when something unexpected happens, I tend to react quickly, maybe too quickly.
I see. So you act fast, but maybe without thinking everything through first.
Exactly. That's a better way to say it.
That's actually a great phrase, think something through. It means to carefully consider something before making a decision.
Ah, that's useful. Think it through. I like that.
But you know what, Leo? Acting quickly can also be a strength.
Really? I always thought it was more of a weakness.
Not necessarily. In some situations, quick decisions are important. For example, in emergencies or fast-moving environments.
That's true. I hadn't thought about it that way.
So maybe your superpower is being decisive. Decisive meaning someone who can make decisions quickly, right?
Exactly. I like that better than saying I react too fast. It sounds more positive. All right, let me try to say it clearly.
Go ahead.
I would say my superpower is being decisive and taking action quickly when needed.
That sounds very natural and confident.
Thanks. That actually feels good to say.
You know, this is something many English learners struggle with, talking about themselves in a positive way.
Yeah, it can feel a bit uncomfortable, like you're bragging.
Exactly, but there's a difference between bragging and explaining your strengths clearly.
That's a really important point. Let me ask you another question.
Sure.
Has your superpower always been the same, or did you develop it over time?
Definitely over time. I wasn't always calm in stressful situations.
What changed?
Experience mostly. I went through situations where being calm made a big difference, and I realized it was something I could improve.
So it's like a skill you practiced.
Exactly. And that's another important idea. Your strengths are not fixed. You can develop them.
That's encouraging, because sometimes people think,
I'm just not good at this.
Right, but that mindset can limit you.
Mindset, meaning the way you think about things.
Yes, exactly.
Let me try something.
Go ahead.
I used to think I wasn't good at speaking in front of people.
And now?
Now I'm more comfortable. I'm still improving, but I don't avoid it anymore.
That's a big change.
Yeah, I guess that could be another superpower, being willing to improve.
That's a great one. Actually, there's a phrase we can use here, growth mindset.
Can you explain that?
Of course. A growth mindset means you believe you can improve your skills with effort and practice.
I like that. It sounds motivating. Let me ask you something else.
Sure.
How would you explain your superpower in a professional situation, like a job interview?
Good question. I would say something like, I'm very good at staying calm under pressure and finding practical solutions in stressful situations.
That sounds very professional.
And clear. That's important.
Let me try mine in that context.
Go ahead.
I'm a decisive person who can take action quickly and adapt when situations change.
That's excellent. Very natural.
Wait, can I ask something?
Of course.
What does adapt mean exactly?
Good question. Adapt means to adjust or change your behavior to fit a new situation.
Ah, okay. So if something changes, I can adjust quickly.
Exactly.
I feel like this kind of vocabulary is really useful in real conversations.
It is. And the key is to use it naturally, not perfectly.
That's reassuring.
Let's make this more practical.
All right.
Imagine you meet someone new and they ask, "What are you good at?"
Okay.
How would you answer in a simple, everyday way?
Let me think for a second.
Take your time.
I would say I'm pretty good at making decisions quickly and staying flexible when things change.
That sounds very natural.
Not too formal, not too simple.
Exactly. That's the balance you want.
What about you?
I might say, I'm good at staying calm and helping others feel less stressed.
That's a great one, especially in team situations.
You know what's interesting?
What?
Many people don't realize their strengths until they talk about them.
That's so true. Sometimes you need a conversation like this to see it clearly. I think another useful skill is listening.
Absolutely.
Would that count as a superpower?
Definitely. Being a good listener is extremely valuable.
How would you describe that in English?
You could say, I'm a good listener and I try to understand people before responding.
That sounds very natural.
Let's try one more example.
Okay.
What if your strength is being organized?
I would say I'm very organized and good at managing my time.
Perfect.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
What do you mean?
Most answers follow a simple structure. I'm good at, or I'm someone who.
Exactly. That's a very useful structure for learners.
This actually feels much easier than I expected.
That's the goal, to make English feel natural and manageable. Before we finish, let's give our viewers a small challenge.
I like that idea.
Think about your own superpower.
It doesn't have to be something big or impressive.
Exactly. It can be something simple, like being patient, organized, creative, or supportive.
And try to say it in 1 or 2 sentences.
For example, I'm good at staying focused and finishing what I start.
Or, I'm someone who learns quickly and enjoys solving problems.
Keep it simple, clear, and natural.
And don't worry about being perfect.
That brings us to the end of today's conversation.
We hope this helped you feel more confident talking about your strengths in English.
Remember, your superpower is something real. It's part of who you are, and you can express it clearly in English with practice.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and don't be afraid to talk about yourself.
If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the English Talk channel.
Thanks for spending time with us today.
We'll see you in the next video.